Hi children, already we have learned the electrolysis of disodium chloride, both aqueous and concentrated. Today also we are going to study some of the electrolysis. Okay, the first one is electrolysis of molten lead bromide. The apparatus setup we are looking here. Here we are using this electrolytic cell as the crucible, and the electrolyte is molten lead bromide. Molten means we won't add any water, so we are taking lead bromide and we are heating, so it will be in the semi-liquid state. The cathode anode is fixed and the battery is fixed. Now the Pb2 plus is going towards the cathode, and it will be discharged and it forms a lead atom, and there it will be deposited. Okay, then anode Pr minus is going towards the anode, and it will be discharged at the anode, and it forms Br2 gas. It's a gas, so it is evolved. Understood? So here we can see these reactions now. So there are two ions, Pb2 plus and 2 Br minus. Here there will be no competition because only two ions. So positive ion move towards this cathode, and there it will be forms lead atom. It's a metal, so it is deposited. Anode Br minus is going, and it forms Br2. It's a gas, so it is evolved. So the product of cathode is lead. The product of anode is bromine. The observation of cathode is grayish metal of lead is deposited, and the observation of anode is reddish brown fumes of bromine is evolved at the anode. Is it clear, children? Okay, next we can see some of the important points regarding this. Silica crucible is used. Why means this silica can withstand high temperature. Next, solid lead bromide cannot be used instead of molten lead bromide because solid lead bromide does not have any ions. So we need to conduct the electricity, means we need the ions. So in the solid it's not there. So we are using this molten lead bromide. This graphite anode is preferred because this bromine vapors are unaffected by this graphite. It is inert. So we are using this inert anode. For electrolysis we must use this inert only. Then only it won't undergo any reaction without the electrolyte. Okay. Next one is electrolysis of acidified water. Here this apparatus setup is somewhat difficult. That is Hoffman voltmeter. Here you can see this water is taken in this voltmeter, and it is anode, cathode is fixed here. Okay, so in this anode we are looking this oxygen gas. The cathode we are looking this hydrogen gas. Okay, we can see what reactions are going in this electrolysis of acidified water. Okay, in this there are three ions, H plus plus, SO4 2 minus, and OH minus. So in this cathode there will be no competition. So hydrogen gas is evolved. In this anode, OH minus ion is moving towards the cathode, and there it will be losing the electron and it becomes OH. Then OH again join with OH and produce a single O. Again and again this O will combine to form oxygen molecule. Understood? So we can see this hydrogen gas at this cathode and oxygen gas at anode. Through the observation we can understand that this is a hydrogen gas and this is oxygen gas. So the product of cathode is hydrogen gas, anode is oxygen gas. Okay, so the important points in this, it gives 2 volumes of hydrogen and 1 volume of oxygen after the electrolysis of dilute sulfuric acid. Okay, acidified water. Then dilute sulfuric acid is used instead of other acids because this is a non-volatile. Non-volatile means it won't evaporate easily. Other all acids will evaporate easily. So we are choosing this dilute sulfuric acid. Then the next question is, why do we choose this dilute sulfuric acid? Because we need the electrolysis of water. So pure water is a non-electrolyte. So to conduct the electricity we are adding this dilute sulfuric acid. Understood? So dilute sulfuric acid, if we add means only we can conduct this electrolysis of water. So did you understand, children? Okay, hope you all understand. Okay, I will send the assignment in this group. Okay, bye.